Welcome aboard, my friends. Today we are going to make a small flight from Nassau to Disney's Castaway Cay, during which we will make a small stop in the middle of this flight, landing on the water where we can't see any land at all. It'll be fun to talk about why I'm going to do that at that time. The aircraft I have chosen for this flight is the Icon A5, which is a beautiful little sport plane designed to be more of a commercialized aircraft, or consumer commercialized aircraft, for the sake of the fact that it has a folding wing design, allowing it to be loaded onto a trailer and stored at home, rather than having to pay the astronomical fees for a hangar at the airport and being stuck to just one airport. This aircraft is also equipped with the ability to land in water, and that's why we will be making a small pit stop in the middle of the ocean where we can't see any land. With the weather set to automatic, surprisingly enough, the weather is fantastic in the Bahamas right now. Aside from a small amount of lightning that we'll see, it doesn't look like we will hit any type of weather to speak of during this trip. With that, let's go take off. We will be taking off from the Linden Pinding International Airport of Nassau, and then we will fly north to the north end of the island, where it seems like most of the cruise ships that bring tourists to this island land. We will take a small look at the hotels and stuff that are in that area, but Microsoft Flight Simulator hasn't quite rendered these to their truest extent. There is a rather massive hotel called Atlantis, but sadly the rendering for that area just doesn't quite do it. But there are a few features that you can see in the immediate area of the docking port for the cruise ships that do match with the island, how the island is set up right now. And you can see just how it's almost walking distance to several sites within the immediate city. Within this area of the city of Nassau, it does seem like a good chunk of population has geared themselves towards the tourism side of accommodating the people that are coming off of the cruise boats. And so there sometimes is an overwhelming amount of people as you walk off of the boat. There's these gentlemen who are like, take my tour. And it can be a little overwhelming, and sometimes a little bit frightening, because they're a little bit up in your face saying that their tour is the best, that they will make sure that you don't waste your money and stuff. And to a small degree, in the 2 times that I've been there, I've found it just a little off-putting at the kind of franticness of these gentlemen to try to get you to take their tour. And it makes you worry that there might be something illicit happening, like human trafficking or something like that. And so it does put you on edge and on the defense as you walk out into the city. But the city is really a nice place to visit, and there are some interesting historical events, or not historical events, but historical sites to see. There is a naval fort that was used to protect the island from invaders, as well as you can visit the capital of the 700 island Bahamas, decked out in its pastel colors, which is very iconic of Nassau to use pastel colors for their buildings. Certainly within the area where the cruise ships dock, they have packed the area full of hotels and other amenities that are really nice. Like, you can go on snorkeling events and boating events. There's glass bottom boat tours that you can do, as well as there's awesome aquariums you can visit that have interaction opportunities where you can interact with, like, sea life and other animals. They've tried to make it a very enjoyable place, even if it is a country that does put people a little bit on edge. The island that I'm showing right now is the island called Paradise Island, which contains probably the largest chunk of actions and activities that you can do, or day activities that you can do during a stop with your cruise. There are other places around the island that have different experiences, like coral reef snorkeling and other fun things that just get things set up for being able to have a good time. Shore excursions galore. It's great. This is where Atlantis should be, and you can see it just doesn't quite fit the profile of what actually exists. It's kind of sad that the AI didn't quite interpret the hotel well here, but it's trying to do its best. For a lot of people, it is the first time that they leave the United States and are officially in a different country. So it's a good experience regardless of. It gives you a good chance to see a different culture that is not the United States. And so I respect the opportunity for that. One last thing before we leave the island, where the marker is right now, and just about where I'm putting the nose of the aircraft, is a little market, a flea market that is very fun to visit because you can get a lot of interesting souvenirs from there. There's the dock area where the boats typically land. I hope that in the future that Microsoft will render multiple different companies of cruises to have different cruise boats landing there from time to time, so that makes it just that much more interesting to fly over Nassau. So out to the open sea. Let's cut to where I'm going to land, and I will talk to you there. As we come in for a landing, it is always something to be reminded of that landing on water is kind of difficult because you go from the very low drag of air to an extremely high drag of water. And while the bottom of the boat or the bottom of the aircraft is designed to stream over the top of the water, there is still a little bit of rough landing when landing on water. So it is something that needs to be done carefully. And just looking around here, it is fascinating to be in the middle of the ocean. It makes you really respect the idea that mariners and seafarers have for years gone out into the unknown, and they spent time on the ocean where they saw no land. And you can understand a lot of why stories would start to appear of monsters and stuff and the edge of the world, and it all boils down to it's kind of shocking to not have anything around you. One thing that I think is also neat about this particular stretch of water is this is about where Disney Cruise Line will do their iconic fireworks at sea. And the fireworks at sea was revolutionary when it came around because, one, Disney was the pioneer of the fireworks at sea. They found and commissioned fireworks that would not be harmful to the environment. They also got permission to do it, and they were the first cruise line to be allowed to launch fireworks at sea. As you can understand, it's probably a little risky to launch fireworks near a boat. And so there was a lot of engineering that had to be done to figure out how to safely launch fireworks without hurting the people on the boat. And I think it's fascinating that because of the fact that you're on a boat and they're setting up the fireworks, they can rotate the boat any which direction they want so that the firework smoke goes away from the crowd. And I think that's pretty cool. Even the fireworks are just a reminder of the fact that Disney continuously pushes the boundaries of entertainment to new heights. They do it so very often that sometimes we don't realize just how much time has passed since their pioneering adventures. Disney Cruise Line was originally founded in 1995 or 1996. It's hard to find proper documentation. A lot of documentation points towards 1996. But I also found one that said they were initially put together as a conglomeration in 1995, which either way puts them over 24 years ago that Disney Cruise Line came around. But oddly enough, there was Disney-like cruises before that time, had a partnership with Premier Cruise Line, which allowed them a certain amount of cruises that would be Disney-themed. And that lasted from 1985 till 1996. or 1995 when Premier Cruises decided to go a different way. And Disney is like, well, okay, we'll do our own cruise line now. And that was when Disney Cruise Line came through. The older cruise line was called Walt Disney World Premier Cruise Line, which is a mouthful. I'm really glad they got away from that. Disney Cruise Line is a lot easier to say nowadays. Disney's first ship was the Disney Magic. It launched in 1998, and her sister ship, the Disney Wonder, launched in 1999. Both of these ships have 875 staterooms, and they are still sailing in the fleet when cruises are allowed to sail again. Disney later added two more larger ships, the Disney Dream and the Disney Fantasy, in 2011 and 2012 respectively. They are the pride and joy of the Disney Cruise Line right now, and will be until 2022 when the Disney Wish will launch. And then there will be two other ships that have been commissioned but have not been yet named. So Disney is expanding its fleet. It is not going to try to compete with like the massive fleets of Carnival or Norwegian Cruise Line or Royal Caribbean, but Disney, while keeping it small, is still able to keep a top-notch product. And I am so excited for the future of Disney Cruise Line because I've had a very good experience, and it really does boil down to if you go on a Disney cruise and you don't have a good time, in all likelihood you went on the cruise with a chip on your shoulder and an intent to not have a good time, because I cannot imagine how you could have a bad time on a Disney cruise. But it's not for everybody, so I guess it's possible. We are approaching our final destination, Castaway Cay. Castaway Cay used to be called Gorda Cay from the time that it was discovered up until 1997 when it was renamed Castaway Cay in honor of Disney signing a 99-year lease to more or less own the island. Bahamian law will not allow any other country or any other entity to own an island of the Bahamas, and so you can lease an island, but you can't own it. As a result, there are Bahamian government officials that are on the island when you arrive, and they are required to make sure, or they're kind of like customs, and they make sure that things are not brought back onto the boat or taken off the boat that shouldn't be intermixed. It's a fascinating idea, and I respect that, and it's kind of still cool to have that interaction and be reminded you are still in the Bahamas. Yet again, Disney did another pioneering thing. As they bought the island, they spent over $25 million to dredge out and create a dock to prevent the need of tendering the passengers from the boat to the island. This was a first in the cruise industry. No other cruise line had ever done it before, and probably because it costs a lot, and it's like somewhere in the range of 100,000 truckloads of sand they had to move in order to make the area next to the dock deep enough for the cruise boat not to run aground. Tendering passengers is loading passengers from the cruise boat onto a smaller boat so that they can go to the island or wherever they're at. And then you have to reverse the process and bring those passengers back eventually, like later in the day. This is a rather long ordeal because the tenders usually can only hold so much people, and the cruise boats have usually 10 to 50 times more people on them than the tender can carry. So you either have to commission multiple little boats to help the passengers get to the shore, or you have to unload the life rafts or life boats that are powered and motorized and use them to tender people to the shore. And then later you have to reverse the process and bring them all back because you have to get everybody back on the boat. When Disney broke the mold and changed this whole concept by literally saying, let's just park the boat on the island, they made the time to get passengers off the boat and back on the boat at the end of the day way shorter. And as a result, I think that adds to the relaxation and fun. And even better is after a short walk and when you pass through the little customs booth, Disney has a trolley that is ready to take you to the main portions of the island and get you right to the beach really quickly. Then you can start experiencing any of the activities. Some of the activities you have to pay for, but some of them are free. Like, if you want to get on the island early, might as well participate in the 5K. You get off before everybody else on the boat gets off, and you get to run a 5K on this beautiful island, which in part uses the little runway that we're about to land on. In addition to that, you can do snorkeling and sailing and parasailing and feed the manta rays, boating, and there's even biking. And there's even a little cove area for kids, which has a tower that has water slides and water guns, like water cannons. I don't know what, they're not really water guns. They're directionable cannons that squirt water. Also character meet and greets. Yeah, the island is pristine and beautiful. And right over here, where we're just about to fly over, we're about to fly over the portion of the island that they isolated specifically for 18 years and older, a Serenity Bay, which allows the cruisers that are not with children to have more of a quiet beach experience and just relax. They'll set up hundreds of chairs on this area, and they have hammocks as well. And it's nice for the cruisers that don't take children or don't have children, but still want to be on a Disney cruise. Additionally, there's a section on the boat that's a Serenity area for the adults who don't want to be around the screaming children and stuff. So a cruise is, at least the Disney Cruise Line, is designed for everyone. Now, as we go back across the island, you can see the main area. This little cove area that's protected by the rocky outcropping there is right where the mouse is kind of hovering, is where the kids area is with that tower. And then you have the main family beach. And then there's a snorkeling area, which we are almost directly above. And that snorkeling area, Disney has taken props and old things like the old Nautilus from the original 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea ride, which is now Finding Nemo ride. They've sunken them into the bay so that you can go and visit them while snorkeling. And then, additionally, they provide lunch on the island. They have a small shopping area where you can pick up some souvenirs, and the lunch is provided by Cookies Barbecue, where they have barbecue meats and burgers and hot dogs, good food for kids. They have a second Cookies Barbecue for the adults area, so that you don't have to go into the loud kids area to eat. If you're in Serenity Bay, you can stay near Serenity Bay. It's that little building right there that you're seeing next to the aircraft's shadow. And Disney's magic extends even to here. Like, the cast members do a great job at keeping things light and entertaining and relaxing. They want you to relax here, and that is exactly how this island plays out. All in all, while the cost of tickets may seem high, I have found that if you set your goal early enough and you start saving towards that goal, you can save up for just about anything. My wife and I, for both the cruises we've been on with Disney Cruise Line, we started saving 2 years in advance. And when it finally came time for us to go on the cruise, it wasn't a big deal. The cost was taken care of because we'd already set aside the money, and we just had fun. I like Castaway Cay enough that I will seek to find an opportunity to go out there more often for the rest of my life. I think it is an excellent thing that Disney added to the Disney anthology, and I really like the product that Disney has to offer. Just so you know, this is not a commissioned video by Disney or anything. This is a personal, hey, I wanted to do a review of Castaway Cay. I really enjoy it just that much that I did not need prompting or sponsorship by Disney. And any of the pictures that are found in this video, most of them are mine. A few of them are Creative Commons pictures. Thank you so much for flying with me today, and I'm glad that you enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave a like and comment down below if you have a favorite Disney location, and we'll maybe talk about that in the future. For now, have a wonderful day. Thank you for flying with me. And if you like the idea of these itinerary-based flights, let me know in the comments section below. Maybe I'll plan some more in the future. Have a good day. Bye.